Okay, so I want to share with you guys two different times that my spirit team put me through training in my dreams. And I'll give you guys a scenario where it was scary and a scenario where it was not scary. All right, scary scenario. This was really interesting. So I would go to bed for about a week. There was a week of these dreams. And I would go to bed. And in my bed, in my sleep, I was woken up in my bed because someone needed my help. And I would get out, astral project over to this planet that needed my assistance. And in this planet, there was like utter chaos everywhere. It was sort of being controlled by these entities. And I was like the strongest person who was able to fight these entities. And I fought all these entities, and I got to this one place in this palace area, and there was like a humongo dungo entity. And this entity had like every power under the sun. And I was like, oh my God. And that's where I kept failing the dream. I kept failing the test or the training because I kept thinking in my earth mind in that dream, oh, I don't have these skills. I don't have the powers that this entity has. So the entity kept outsmarting me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I cannot fight this entity. And yet here I am every night having to go back to this place and fight this entity. Like what? And then at one point I realized I could do the exact same thing, if not more, than this entity could do. And that is when I stopped having the dream, because I was like, oh, this is okay. Okay, this is all coming together now. I'm getting it. I need to remind myself that I am way more powerful than these beings are, than these entities are. Now, I've had many interactions now at this point with entities where I'm like, oh my God, you're not even, stop. You're being stupid. Like, and it's not as intense as you think it is when you learn who you are as a spirit being. And the second dream training that I went through was actually recently, and it's when it was much more simple. This was about setting boundaries, and the boundaries were around my self-worth. And I was in a diner with a particular person, and we were chatting, and there was a new person who came into the restaurant, came to the table and knew the person I was with. And that person and them had a conversation. And after about a minute, 2 minutes, the dream would stop and start over again. And I'd be like, what the heck? And this happened maybe 2 or 3 times. And then I realized, oh, I need to set a boundary here. And so every time it happened, I would just gather my stuff and get up and leave. And then the person would come to the parking lot and be like, well, what happened? And it's like, no, you obviously are interested in having a conversation with this person. So my time is valuable and I am leaving. That's how that works. And when I finally finished that training, I was like, okay, that's good, but I don't really know what that's for. Lo and behold, a month later, this happened in real life, where it wasn't a new person who came into the restaurant, but it was that this person was late. And I was like, after a certain amount of time, I was like, I'm leaving at this time. And it was sort of like, yeah, could I have left after like 30 seconds? I could have. I might have, should have, might have, should have. I could have, maybe that would have been a different outcome for sure. But either way, I would not have been able to realize that I needed to set a boundary in that time for myself without that dream training. So why am I saying all this? I'm telling you guys this story because this is what happens in your dreams. You go through training. It's not always like to freak you out and scare you. It's to teach you things that you don't have the right skill sets for sometimes, in order to, that you need to overcome, because this is all about evolving, right? Anyway, happy Tuesday.